This video is sponsored by Stream. Stream helps you to build scalable chat and activity feeds for your application. Stream also takes care of security, hosting, and scaling so you can focus more on the functionality and building high-quality applications. Check out their SDKs for many different platforms. They have iOS with Swift and iOS with SwiftUI, Flutter, Android, React, React Native, and so much more. To learn more about Stream, check the link in the description for more information. In this video, you're going to learn that how you can use the different kind of modifiers for formatting that were introduced in SwiftUI. So let's go ahead and get started. If I want to go ahead and print out a date, I can use date.formatted. And you can see that by default, it simply formats it into a particular month, day, year, as well as the time. Now, whenever we're using formatted to format date and time, it does take into account our locale. So since I am based in US, it is showing me month and then the day and then the year. But if I was in a different country where the day comes first, then it would be formatted differently. For the sake of convenience, let's go ahead and create a variable, which is called now. And we're simply going to go ahead and use that variable. So now.formatted. Not really any difference. You can see that it's still going to display some sort of a time and the date along with it. Now, in SwiftUI and in the date, there are other functions that are added. I mean, you can use it in a UI kit application also, but I'm just showing you how you can use it in a SwiftUI application. You can see that you have formatted, that's the one that we use. You have the one with the format style, which we are going to use it later. And then we have the date and time. So you can always say that you don't really want the date and you want the standard time. So you can see that the date part is omitted since we are saying over here omitted, and the time part is still there. It's just standard. Now there are other ways to organize this also. If I say formatted, and for this I can say abbreviated, and for time I can say standard, omitted, complete. So if I say complete, it's going to be a little bit more complete time with a CST and everything. All right. Along with that, we can also have other variations of the same thing. If you want, you can go ahead and use date as long and time as omitted. So in this case, the time will no longer be there. We can also go ahead and say other formatting operators, which we can say date will be numeric and the time is omitted. So time is not there, date is only numeric. And then if I want to go ahead and say in a different way, let's say the ISO 8601, there's the format for that also. So I can say format, and you can see formatted. And in this format, I can say a different kind of a format. All right. So these are different ways of formatting your date time. Now, this is not the only, they're not the only ways, because it will also give you a more granular control if you use the format style. So let me show you how you can use the format style. So I'm going to go ahead and say now. And when we are formatting this, we can use the format and pass in date.format style. And in the format style, we can simply say day. So I only want to see the day. And you can see the last one is actually just showing you the day. So it does give you a lot and a complete control, because now I can over here say, oh, I actually want the day and the month. So I can use date.format style. And I can say that I want the day and I also want the month. So now you have the day and you have the month. In the same way, you can use the format to specify many different variations. So I can say over here, format style, and I want the day, and I want the month. But by the way, the month, I want it abbreviated or only 2 digits. So there we go, only 2 digits for the month. You can also do the format style for the month and the day and the year, and the year can be 2 digits. So it kind of gives you a lot more control to format depending on if that is what you're looking for. So now I can say format style, and I want it to be day.month.year. There we go. So now we have the actual day, the month, and the year. Everything is in that particular format. So all of these are getting displayed. Now, if you want it to be 2 digits, then you can say 2 digits, and now you can see 22 instead of 2022. Now, it's still formatting it based on our locale. If you're wondering that, hey, why the day is not coming first, the reason it's not coming first is that it is still formatting based on our locale where we are, or our locale is set to US English. So in US, the day, the month always comes first. And that's the main reason that it is formatting it that way. So this is great. Looks like there are a lot of different ways that you can format your dates in SwiftUI and also in UIKit, because all of these operations are on the date. They're not something in a SwiftUI library, but you can use it in SwiftUI and you can use it in UIKit application. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a different criteria. How about if we format currencies? How would we go about doing that? Now, one of the very common things that we do when we are working on applications is to display currency. So let me go ahead and create some sort of a currency amount. And let's say that we want to display this. Now, one of the ways of displaying this is by using the string interpolation. And you'll see that this particular method is not really going to work because there are no exact matches for interpolation that takes in a decimal. But we can work around that problem by simply calling string and then passing in the actual amount. And if you want to put a dollar sign, you are free to do that. Just put a dollar sign so that you are displaying it in different amounts. You can see it's now 45.56. Now, the problem with this approach is that not every country or every region is going to use dollar to represent currency. So if I am over here in a preview and I want to see how it will actually look like when we are using a different kind of currency, so content view dot environment, and we can check the locale and we can set it to something else with an identifier for FR for French. So you can see that for French, or people who are living over there where the locale is French, you can see it's still displaying dollar amount. So this is never really a good idea to hard code the dollar amount, because now you're assuming that all the different places in the world will use dollar. I mean, there are places that use euros and rupees and pesos. So we need to take into consideration that there are these other places also that takes different currency. So this is never really a good idea. So let's go ahead and remove that. Now, how can we make sure that we are formatting our currency? Now, again, there are multiple ways of formatting your currency. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and probably create an extension that will format the currency. So I'm going to create an extension on decimal, because currency should be decimal, because the currency can have those values, rounding errors, and the currency should be, that's why the currency should be in the decimal. You're going to pass in the locale. And if you don't pass in the locale, then we will simply go ahead and set the locale to be the current. Whatever the locale that you have, we're going to set it to that. All right. In most application, you won't really need to pass in the locale, because you will simply use a locale that your phone is currently tied up to. So if I am in US, my locale will be set to US English and all that stuff, so that everything is in a correct metric system. But the reason that I'm passing locale over here is that I want to show you that if you are using currency in a different locale, like France, it will be different. So it will be euros. So now I'm going to go ahead and say formatter.numberStyle will be currency. Formatter.locale. If you don't pass in the locale over here, it will automatically be set to the current locale. So technically, you don't really have to pass the locale. The only reason we're passing locale is so that I can show you how it will look like for different places. And now we can use the formatter, the one that we just created, .string function, and we can use NSNumber, pass in the value, which is self. Self is the actual decimal. If, however, that fails, then we can go ahead and return. You can return NA, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually return 0. I mean, you can return whatever you want. I'm just going to return 0 in this case. Okay. Now let's go ahead and see what exactly is going on over here. Again, it is kind of complaining over here that the NS number, and we are trying to pass in a self over here. So that part is still complaining because NS number can only be used for double and not the decimal. So that is the reason it is complaining. But not to worry, because we can substitute NS number with NS decimal number and pass in our decimal value. Okay, so now we have created this. Let's go ahead and try to use this. If I want to simply display some sort of an amount in my current locale, I can call format as currency. And if I don't really pass anything over here, it is going to take into account my current locale and going to display automatically the $sign, all right, because I'm in US. But what about if I was in a different region, different country where the currency is different, like in this case, it will be euros? Well, one of the things that we can do is we can capture the actual environment variable that you're passing, which will be of locale. And we're going to get access to that. And now we can go ahead and probably pass it so that it will take into account the actual locale. And now you can see right over here in US we have dollar, but if I scroll down to see another preview, you can see that this is different currency, euros. So this is the main idea, that whenever you're creating applications, you have to keep in mind that your application can be downloaded in different countries. And if I am in, some other country, I don't want to see $sign. That's not my local currency. So that's why you always have to make sure that you are using the correct locale as well as the number formatter. Now, in this case, as I explained earlier on, that we are passing in the locale over here, and the reason that we're passing in the locale is that so I can grab this locale and show you that the change of the locale, so I can show you different kind of currencies and different locales. But in reality, if you omit this, it will always be your current locale. So you technically don't really have to do this particular line, because if you don't set the locale, then it will automatically be set to the current locale, which is already set on your phone. All right. So this is how you will end up formatting currencies. Now, there are other formatting things that you have to sometimes deal with, right? I mean, maybe the distance is in meters and you need feet. So how can we do all of those different things? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. In order to convert from one particular unit length to another unit length, we have the measurement API that we can utilize, we can use. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example. Let's say that we have a distance. So I'm going to simply go ahead and create a distance, which will be double, and it is, let's say, 1. And we're assuming that this distance is meters, but the value is right now just 1.0. If we need to convert this into feet, how would we do that? Instead of writing your own functions and own calculations, we can utilize the measurement API. Now, I'm just going to make double over here, and on the double, I'm going to go ahead and perform an extension. You can do it on the decimal also if you do care about those kind of like length and all the precision, but I'm just going to go ahead and extend the double and create a convert function. In the convert function, I'm going to pass in from which particular length or unit length that you're converting from and to which length you are converting to. This is going to return us the measurement of unit length. And now over here, we can perform and use the measurement API. So the measurement API, as we will create an instance of that, it takes in the value, so which will be self because we are extending double, and the unit, the current unit that you are currently in. So that will be from. This is going to give us a measurement. So if we are saying that we want to convert from meters, the from part, right, this one will be meters. So right now the measurement will be in meters. But now we can go ahead and perform measurement.converted, and we can convert it to the destination format. So this is going to allow us to convert from to. So let's go ahead and try to use this. I'm going to go over here and say text distance. Since distance is double, we will automatically be given the convert function, convert from meters to feet. Now this is going to return you the measurement of unit length, and on that we can call formatted function. Now if I call that formatted function, you will see that it is now written as 3.3 feet. So 1 meter is 3.3 feet. Now it is going to use your locale to find out the current system that you're using for length and measurements. It can be imperial system or is it like a metric system. So it's automatically going to use feet. If I'm in a different country, maybe it will use kilometers and meters, or inches, depending on the locale and the settings of the locale. Now, what about if I go over here and I say, well, I want to convert it from, let's say, meters to centimeters. You can see that even though we are converting it from meters to centimeters, it still puts it in the feet, 3.3 feet. So that is probably not what we want. What we want is that it should just say centimeters. And there is a way that you can accomplish that. The reason that it is always showing you feet is that that is the current locale that is being set. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like force it that, hey, whatever the unit that we're providing, make sure that you are converting to those units. So I'm going to create an extension on the measurement. It's going to be just a format function. You can name your function anything you want. And now I'm going to construct measurement formatter. And in the measurement formatter, I'm going to set the unit options. And instead of unit options to be natural scale or temperature without unit, I'm just going to set provided unit. And now I can go ahead and perform the conversion by saying formatter.string and passing in self. So whatever the provided unit is, it's going to make sure that it is using that. Make sure to use the format function. That's the new one that I just added. And now you can see that it is giving us in centimeters. So now we can clearly go from, we can say, how about feet, and now feet to centimeters, and we can actually go ahead and change the value also. So what if it's 100? So 100 feet to centimeters, or 100 feet to meters, or 100 feet to miles. So 100 feet is only 0.019 miles. So you can see that by using this approach, we are able to print out the destination or the final conversion, the provided unit, instead of depending on the locale. Now let's move to the final part of this video, which is how would you display the list in a text view control in SwiftUI. So let's go ahead and first create a list. Now it can be any list, so I'm just going to go ahead and create a list of few names. Let's say Alex, we have John, we have Stephen, and let's go ahead and put Mary also. Now if I want to display this, the list or array in a text, there are some new format modifiers that you can use. So I can go ahead and display people, which is an array, and I can say that format it like a list and use the AND operator. Now what this is going to do is it's going to print out the contents of the list, and you can see that it is also separating it out using the AND operator, which is pretty cool, right? It's going to make that. Now the other operator is, I believe, OR. So you can see Alex, John, Stephen, OR. And all of this is basically locale driven. All right. I mean, and OR, obviously, in our case, it's not really going to be that particular change. But if I was using localization and if I was using a different language, then it would also tell me that it is locale driven, and whatever the word of and OR is, it's going to be substituted. All right. Now, the same thing goes with numbers. I mean, we can simply go ahead and create an array of numbers, which can be anything, 1, and all of that stuff. And if I want to display all the numbers, I can use text and I can say numbers with a particular format. And again, I can use the list. I can also say the member style can be a number, and then the type, if you want to use AND or if you want to use something else. So it's going to display a list of numbers also with AND. So you can see that SwiftUI and all these built-in format providers or formatting operators, it's definitely going to help you with your applications and allow you to easily display a list or an array of data onto the screen. So there you have it. We learned a lot about the different formatting options that are available. Some are part of SwiftUI framework, some are part of the Date framework, some are in the measurement APIs, but all of them you can use to build your SwiftUI or UIKit applications. Hope you like this video. Thank you so much.